Let's go. The pain you don't even realize you carry into marriage on this segment of A Scary to Remarry. What's up, Brave Arts community? This is Sean Heineman, your premier pre-engagement coach, back with another segment of A Scary to Remarry, inspiring you to love fearlessly. This topic on pain, I have gotten a revelation from it since attending his class, and so I decided to talk about it a little more in depth with our special guest. First time on the platform. I want to bring him in today. I just want to say, let me just read a little bit about today's guest. Today's guest is a proud husband of wife Coloma and father to their three sons, native of New Mexico, and he and his family have called Texas home for many years now. He is ordained into the ministry back in 2001. He has served as a youth pastor, domestic missionary, and lead pastor. He is a licensed professional counselor with the designation of supervisor in the state of Texas, a level 2 restoration therapist, and seeks to utilize this training in assisting individuals, marriages, and families discovering their God given potential and to see it actualized. He has been in private practice since January of 2019 and mental health counseling since 2010. He has an extensive training in trauma informed care, solution focused therapy, family systems, and engages in going on professional development. Bravehearts community, let's show some love to Michael Cox. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Sean. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty Wise community, this is who I make reference to when I talk about being a mentor and the stuff that I learned. Okay, so to those who is Michael? Who is this guy? This is who I'm talking about. So we're actually able to get him on the episode today. The pain you don't even realize you're carrying into marriage. Now, we attended your marriage class some years ago, and we talked about this whole relate strong couples in the
Yeah.
book in that. And so, can you talk about that a little bit and just the impact that you've seen that it happened, that it has happened in your marriage groups as well?
Yeah. Some time ago, man. It was less than yeah. We just finished in the spring, and I think you and Clarissa were with us for 2 years,
Yeah, 2 years.
something like that. Yeah, yeah. So you said the impact of what it was. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like what impact did you see that it had on the couples that you've counseled? Because we've learned a lot about the pain and peace cycles. If you don't mind talking about that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is that impact? How did that look in the marriage groups?
Yeah, so just to give a quick little background, the basis for what we're using in therapy, I use a model called restoration therapy. And the non therapeutic version of that is Relate Strong. That's housed at Pepperdine University, is where all the information and research comes from. So it's not something I've created, it's something that comes from some other things, but very heavily part of what we do. So, we did this group with that you and Clarissa were a part of for a couple of years, and my wife and I have led small groups in this material since about 2011. I think 2011, 2012, in this material. So we've had a great chance to do that. The impact we've seen marriages that were about out the door, and come back together, walking with couples who are just trying to learn a language of how to deal with life, how to deal with struggle and difficulty. And so we've had the chance to connect and coach couples through that process. The basis of it is this is we think or know that everyone comes into this world needing two things. They need love and they need trust. Love answers the question, who am I? So our identity is developed in how we are loved or not loved growing up in life. And then trust answers the question, am I safe? So is it predictable? Is it fair? And all those things in growing up. And if they're not, we call those violations of love and trust. And in those violations of love and trust, we have a way that we react. We learn a coping way of dealing with the question of not feeling loved and not feeling safe. We either blame others, it's their fault. Mom and dad did it, or somebody else did it. It's their fault that I'm not loved or my identity is tarnished. Or we shame ourselves. Must be something wrong with me that they didn't love me. All right. It must be something happening going on myself. If trust is violated, we react by trying to take control. So we learn very early if I'm not in control, then nothing is going to go right and I don't feel safe. or we escape. Usually, an escape is usually to chaos, to something not better. It's usually some level of, it could be a mental, emotional, or a physical escape away from that. And so we learn that very early. And if we don't learn something new, we carry it into relationships. And so we walk couples through an opportunity of learning what we call a pain cycle. What happens when we're in dysregulation, when we're in our pain, those violations of love and trust happen, and we blame, shame, control, or escape. And then we walk them through the process of understanding what that pain cycle is as an individual and then as a couple. And then we teach them how to get out of that pain cycle into what we call a peace cycle. And that peace cycle is grounded in the concept of truth, the truth about who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's been life changing for our marriage. Um, I thought I was doing pretty good until I got into the marriage group. I was like, oh, I'm jacked up. Like, oh, I, I'm really messed up.
Yeah. Yes, well, you say that, Sean. I don't know if you remember. Cologne and I, when we got introduced to it back in 2011, I had just finished grad school. I did ministry for a number of years and then transitioned to counseling. Just got out of grad school, and our church was hosting a thing where they were training what's called a 5 days to a new marriage. It's kind of a similar foundation for this.
Hmm.
And they were training in it, and they were saying, hey, they wanted me and Coloma to help lead couples in this. So they send us to what's called a hideaway experience. It's a marriage intensive up in the Texas Panhandle, and we were going to learn, right? We were going to go learn how to teach this. And it was there that we had that revelation. Oh, y'all jacked up. Y'all really got problems. Y'all think you good, but y'all got issues.
Oh my God.
So it
Yeah.
rocked our world, and then we just got the chance to come and rock other people's world.
Rock stars for sure, because even to this day, man, we still apply all the things that has been taught, man, and it has helped us. Has it been easy? No, but it has helped us tremendously, and I've been able to see uh, being emotionally regulated, and
Yeah.
even when we kind of get off track, we can come back,
Yeah.
and be like,
Yeah.
you know what, I was wrong, you know, I feel, usually that whole thing. And so I'm just grateful, man, that we had the opportunity to join the class,
Yeah.
man. 'Cause it's definitely life changing.
Yeah.
Uh, in some subtle ways, uh, how does pain show up in couples when they communicate?
And it's different for every couple, different every person. I think what happens in, let's say, in a few different ways. Some folks' pain shows up in more reactions than it does identifying what's going on under the surface, right? So I'll just put myself as an example. When my stuff is going on, my reaction is to figure out what's happening. What did I do wrong? Like if I had to give myself a label in that framework, I'm a shame controller. In that, all right, so when something's going on, whether it's with my wife, with my kids, but particularly with my wife, I must be something I did.
Yep.
Must be something with me. I must have said something wrong. So I need to come and prove it. My control is, if you misunderstood me, if you've rejected me, if I'm feeling alone, I need to come in and figure out what's going on. What did I do wrong? How do I fix this? How do I make it happen? So my control is come and let me help you understand where I was coming from or whatever's going on. Right. And so it's typically that we find ourselves reacting before we know what's going on under the surface. And so that real counseling word of, oh, how you feel and what's going on, right? Everybody wants to avoid that, but the reality is we have emotions, right? And the hard part is we don't always understand what the emotions are, and so we react. And
Yeah.
so I think typically what happens is folks see the reaction before they know what's going on internally. And so therefore their spouse or partner is reacting to the reaction. And so it can look different. And some people say in anger and frustration, yelling, shutting down, all those are reactions. You become angry because you feel what? Right?
Fear
Yeah.
or shame. Yeah.
Yep. Shame.
Yeah.
Misunderstood. Not good enough.
Hmm.
So sometimes we learn that the way to deal with it is to be angry. And so it's a reaction as opposed to it being an emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I love it because, and when I realize that, it's like I can have this conversation in my head where I'm just like, okay, Sean, what's really bothering you right now?
hmm
Outside of just this conversation that me and Clarissa are having, it's like, Sean, wait a minute. It's is what even though she said something, it just triggers something in me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, man, you're hitting right on point. And I didn't say this earlier, but the self-regulating point is the big part. Sometimes things are teaching that you're responsible for each other. It is you hit it right on point. Like what's happening in me, even though she said something or did something or whatever it is, why am I acting? Why am I not wadding out? Like what's going on in myself? And that's where we miss sometimes. We look to the other person to change or to do something, and when they're not, we stay upset. Well, that's ridiculous for adults, right? Like, why are we giving another adult so much power of our emotions? They can't. And so you've heard it said, it's not uncommon now, but it's said, like, no one can make you feel nothing,
Yep.
right? But it's identifying what's going on internally with myself. Self regulation says, how do I regulate that? And we just use that framework of, hey, identifying what the pain is, how you cope. Let's learn what's true about you. And once we know what's true about you that's going to counter to the pain, let's choose to do something different. Let's walk in this differently.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. I love when the couples are there because they're getting something together. They're
Yeah.
learning something new together. Because I think, in my opinion, I think it's almost impossible to do this by yourself if you're married. You think this is something that do you think that this is mandatory for couples? Like, what if a husband is mad at a wife and he's like, "I'm just going to this marriage class," and she's like, "Well, you go to your little marriage class." Like, can this work? Can this work?
Hey,
Like,
this sounds like the Clips just say that to you one time.
I said it
you,
too good, huh?
you said it way too well.
Do you think can it work for, say, one person who decides to go to the marriage class? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the beauty of it is that's why we call it self regulation. Somebody's got to make a decision to do something different. I think what happens is that's what conflict can increase because if only one person in the relationship decides to do anything about it, then the relationship still isn't healing, right? And so yeah, one person still can regulate and decide from a peaceful place how they're going to move forward differently in the relationship, but that other person is still living in dysregulation. Well, then conflict's still going to be there because they're choosing not to get to that peaceful place. And so yeah, it can be done, but it ain't it really doesn't necessarily do much for the group. Now, sometimes, I mean, for the couple, the beauty though is that what you're kind of hitting on, the beauty of group couples group therapy or couples groups. Not we didn't do therapy, but couples group, it felt like therapy, right? At
It
times.
did. It
Right?
did.
And so the benefit of it is not feeling alone, right? Like sometimes I think couples feel like we're the only ones dealing with this. We're the only ones that having issues. We kind of cognitively know that ain't true, but when we're not engaging with community and other folks, it can feel isolating because not people ain't putting their stuff all out there, and so we don't know what people are dealing with. So in a small group, couples group, you get a chance to, yeah, like we saw this all the time, right? In our group, yeah, I'm with you, right? You can identify with somebody. Yeah, man, it was always there, or that's how we dealing with it. And so
Yep.
there's builds this camaraderie, but also helps you know that you're not alone in the relationship or in dealing with the things you're dealing with in the relationship.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's good because I can tell you there's been times that I've been grateful that me and Clarissa was together in this because there's times when I'm off, and I'm just like, man. And then she gets into
Yeah.
her self regulation, like, you know what? I came at you totally wrong.
Hmm.
I'm just like, man, and that's like the beauty of it though, because you're just like, praise the Lord, what I'm saying? So it helps tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you. There's a couple of times we talked about how, pain can beget pain. So like we can easily get in that cycle. But the truth, the opposite of that is peace can beget peace. Like if an individual decides, hey, I'm not going to lean into the pain. I'm not going to do those things. I'm going to learn to regulate myself. It's amazing. Like, because as you went to your question asked a while ago, it takes a stubborn person. If my spouse is choosing to regulate themselves, get to a place of peace, and you want to stay mad, like that tells a whole lot about you if they're not coming back at you. So there's a place where it's like, oh wait, I can chill out because he's not coming at me in the same way, or vice versa.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I could stay on that forever. In your counseling experience, what's the most common pain couples bring into marriage? Like when we talk about those pain cycles, which one do you see maybe is the most common one?
That's why I was just having this conversation today.
Mm,
Uh, so what I typically hear in counseling from couples is, uh, we're having trouble communicating. We don't communicate. We have different communication styles. I would be willing to put that's like 98% of what people put on their intake form.
yeah,
What that automatically triggers in my head is y'all are coping. Y'all are in this reactive process, and no one's communicating about what's really going on underneath. And so teaching couples to say, hey, communication is you're not communicating, you're reacting to each other. And so, how are you going to identify what's going on internally to be able to communicate that and then figure out how to engage differently? And so, I think at the top of the list, folks find that that's communication is difficult. And I was telling a couple of folks today, I said, it's like a Captain Obvious moment. Like, one, you're male and female.
right,
Two, you're two different people. Like, where is the myth that we come together and decide, oh, wait, we communicate differently? Duh. Like it's kind of like yeah, and so when you said I do, it's just supposed to change. Like we just supposedly be able to read. No, it actually probably gets worse.
yeah,
Um, and so I think it just we many of us didn't learn how to communicate healthily in families before we got married,
yeah.
and so we just figured out a way to do it, and then we marry somebody that has a different communication style or grew up different than we did, and so therefore we're trying to figure out, well, why he doing it my way? Why is she doing it my way? And you stay in this battle as opposed to what we talk about as an us, like what is our way, as opposed to just individually, and how do we look at figure out those things. So I think to answer your question, in many different facets, people will come in and say we have trouble communicating, and in that we find so many other issues that begin coming to the surface.
Mm. And can you talk about because you said that the communication is a problem, but you said did you say you're just surviving, or what did you say? You said the communication is bad, but you said it was something else. You said I can't remember it. You said something about it being like y'all were in survival, or I can't remember. But I wanted to go somewhere with that because I thought it was so good because
Uh-huh.
communication is such a problem.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, it's those two things. You're born in different households and you're opposite sex.
Hmm.
And we don't even think about those things. We just want them to think the way we think so we can make life easier for us.
Yep. Yep. And that's probably where, again, why this model works so well is that it's realizing what am I doing to cope with it. So like if I'm trying to make her do it my way, that's a control thing, right? So that means there's a violation of safety somewhere in there. What is that? And likely that was something that you brought into the relationship, not something that person is doing.
Yeah.
Or if you're that one that shuts down or runs or goes to the other room or whatever it is to try to avoid the conflict, then it's an escape. So we got to figure out why are you doing that? Like what is it in that's that violation of that love and that trust in your life? And so helping the individual identify that is important. And part of the communication is communicating what that violation is. Hey, I feel not good enough. I feel alone. I feel rejected. And so either I'm going to try to control and take it over, or I'm going to try to get out of Dodge and escape.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, because when you gave us the list, I'm trying to think if I can find a list, but
Mhm.
when you gave us that list of the pain,
Pain words.
I was, yeah, I was like, man, that was so good because there's so many times when we're just like, I'm mad. And we're like, oh, okay, well, I've heard that since I was 6.
Yep.
Like everybody's mad.
Hmm.
And so you sound like everyone else. But in some of these pain cycles, like unloved, inadequate, powerless, vulnerable, unworthy, unacceptable, out of control, all of these different things, I have expanded my vocabulary. Simple words, but when you say it different, when instead of you saying I'm angry, when you say I feel alone, that changes the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
You know.
again, what you're doing is identifying the actual pain. That's why we call it a pain cycle,
Yes.
right? So anger is the reaction. And so when it comes to communication, it does hit different when if you're talking to your Clarissa and you say, "Hey, I feel alone," it's going to land different than you yelling and screaming at her. That's the anger. But she's going to hear differently if, hey, right now I feel alone. And part of the discovery when we discover those things is to know that alone didn't start with Clarissa, right? If
Mm,
that's what the
yeah.
pain is, it didn't start with her. She wasn't the author of your pain. You brought it into this relationship. And so, but what you're doing is communicating. You're communicating what's going on internally that's causing me to react or that I'm choosing to react. And so I feel alone. And when I feel alone, hey, only way I know how to deal with it is get mad or come after you.
Yep.
But that's just not who I am. That's not the truth of who I am.
Oh
I know
man.
I'm deeply loved. I know that I'm cherished. I know that I'm good enough, all those things. And if that's the truth, I ain't got to get angry. I can be present. I can take a deep breath.
Yeah.
I can stay connected. I can be curious about what's going on with you and what's happening. I can guarantee you she's going to respond differently.
Yes.
And if she doesn't, she's got to walk through her own pain cycle, right? She's got to know what's going on with me that I'm not wanting to receive that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost like this personal therapy session. You're just like, why do I feel alone? And I love that you said that it didn't start with Clarissa or it didn't
Hmm.
start with your spouse. And a lot of times, I think our default setting is you.
Hmm.
That's our default setting because that's why the divorce rates are higher the second time because people are like, no, it was my ex.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was you. you know.
Yeah, yeah. I have a colleague that sometimes will say, "Man, I love it when he talks about that. When it comes to, especially like your the theme, scary to remarry, is it ain't that we got a picking problem. Like many times, I picked wrong. That first one, I just picked wrong. Well, then why are second and third marriages not successful all the time? Because if you were picking wrong, then you should have got it right second and third time, right? And so if we looked at statistics, we realized that that number ain't very good for second and third marriages,
It's not.
right? And so maybe it's not a picking problem; it's a being problem, as in who are you? It's who you are being as an individual and showing up. And so if you're that's where it goes back to if it's up to that other person and it's always their fault, then you're gonna keep picking wrong because it's not about what you picked; it's about who you are as an individual. And what's going on, and not gathering that, and not being able to gain that and understanding, people just continue to in those patterns. It's always someone else's fault. That's a blamer,
Yep.
right? It was my exes. They did da 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 da.
Yep.
Well, all the exes kept doing it. There's a common denominator.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Who is that now? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You said it's not a picking problem; it's a being problem.
Mhm.
So good. So
Yeah,
good. I love that,
yeah.
man.
Very
Yeah.
being. I could own it now. What's the rule? I give you credit three times when I say it. The fourth time is mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it two more times in this episode.
There
So
you
by
go.
the time we're done, I'm taking it. How can carrying old hurts impact the way we handle new conflicts in marriage?
Mm. How can old hurts impact conflict in new marriage? Is that what you said?
Yeah, how can carrying old hurts impact the way we handle new conflicts in marriage? So, example would be, you know, abandonment, right? But we get into a marriage or I remarry, but now we have money problems.
Hmm.
Like it's a new problem, but I have abandonment issues. Like does they correlate? Does that somehow end up crossing with like old struggles, old issues with uh new issues in a marriage?
Yeah. So what
That
I
makes sense.
typically do with like yeah some of those specific examples is like so if there was abandonment issues before,
Yeah.
I would typically ask, well, what did you like? How did you handle it? What did you do to cope with it? And typically they would say, maybe I had an affair, or maybe I went and ran after someone. I was trying to do what I needed to do to make it, to feel loved or to feel wanted or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
Well, now in this new marriage, um, I got to control the money because is he going to leave? What is he going to do? Or what's she going to do? And so I take on those. And so to me, there's a root issue there that we've got to figure out where does that abandonment come from, and is it a control thing, and that's why you've decided, hey, if I don't take control, they're going to leave, or if I don't do this, then they might leave. Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then that's where I would take them, and not so much focus on maybe the action, but more on, hey, what is the root of that, And that's what we've got to begin working on, because yes, they can affect you in the next relationship,
Yeah.
mainly because you didn't get to the root of what it was. It just dealt with the coping.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that was because a lot of times, like you say, when people jump from marriage to marriage or they remarry, they're trying to leave that old issue, whatever that issue is, thinking that that new marriage is going to clean the slate,
Hmm.
and it doesn't.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. And now all of a sudden, now you got two issues on your hands because you
Right.
you didn't deal with the old spouse, and now you got a new spouse with their set of issues.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And it's
sir.
just like this cycle, and again, I think that's why the divorce rate ended up getting higher because they never dealt with none of the issues, let alone childhood, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep. It didn't learn. You didn't learn the tools in the first one. All you did is compile it in the second one, right? You didn't learn even before that. I always say, like, that's the what's the common saying? The grass is greener on the other side. And I'll tell you, it might be, like, the grass might be, but they got bugs too. Like, right? You gonna get to the other side of the grass. Just because the grass is greener doesn't mean it's better. It's got bugs and, like, pesticides, stuff that's in it too. But
Yeah.
what do? You bring your bugs over, and now you got double the bugs. So the grass might be greener. It's cool if it's green, but that
Wow.
doesn't make it better. So you just all you did was took your bugs and just added them to the bugs on the green side. You just in a greener pasture. That doesn't mean it's better.
Wow. Yeah, man. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff on Instagram, and I know it's social media, but I'm realizing how important algorithms are, and
Mhm.
so I'm starting to see this trend of millennial wives who like I'm done with marriage because I didn't think marriage would be like this.
Mhm.
And so I seen one video, and all of a sudden, all of it is popping up on my algorithm. I'm just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, why do you think so? Because the divorce rates right now are they kind of leveled out a little bit. I don't think they
They haven't
spiked
peaked.
high.
Mhm.
Yeah, like why do you think so many people choosing to pass on marriage today?
I'm trying to figure out how to shorten this one. Now that's a soapbox. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just interested because it's
yeah.
like I see so many people they trying to opt out. They like,
I think I think we live in a day and age where we can get what we want when we want it, fast and in a hurry. Like, I can call right now if I want it, and I have me a cheeseburger on the front porch,
yep,
exactly the way
true.
I want it from where I want it. And if it ain't what I want, then I can go somewhere else. Right? There are so many options. Let's put it that way. They're out there. I
Yeah.
think what people are stepping into is, marriage is similar. Is all right. So if they're not meeting my needs, then I'm gonna find somebody that's gonna meet my needs. They didn't meet them, so let me go find someone else.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I think, getting really grounded is, first of all, well, who are you? What do you bring to the table? And therefore, how do we work together to figure out what that means? And so it's just easy to opt out, and easy to move on. I'm very, very cautious of doing premarital counseling anymore. I
Mm.
don't do it very much. And the reason I don't do premarital counseling is because, I don't even remember who this was, so I can still say it's mine. But, I'm trying to remember who said it. Right? Is, you might have that, like, say someone gets married, right? And 2, 3 weeks, years in the marriage, you roll over and be like, "Ooh, who is this? I don't even know this person. I thought you were da 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 da."
Yeah.
And I heard someone say at one point was, man, they lied to me. This is not who they were. No, actually, what's happening is who shows up in that bed is who they are. Who was lying to you was the person you dated. Like, who in your dating life, think about it. Like, we put on our best clothes, we smell good, we comb our hair. Well, at least you and I don't, but right, it is right.
Well, back in the day,
Back
I
in the
did.
day, we did. Right? All the stuff, which is not necessarily, it's only just a small piece of who you are. Likely, what was happening is that was the lie, and you believed the lie, and now you're a little upset because, oh, wait, they showed who you really are. He stinks at night, right? Or she snores, or whatever. Oh, I don't like that. And so, because I don't like it, we don't want to do the work to make it better. It just, let's get out, and I'm just going to get out because it's easy to do. And so it's just to have to work through this. Now, it what we haven't said, like I think the caveat is if someone is abusive, if someone's continuously cheating,
Yes.
if there's something really serious going on, then no, why would you stay in that? Like
Of
that,
course.
that I would never have that conversation with someone.
Of course.
However, that's the rare of things that are happening is just, I just don't like them no more. We're
Yep.
just not compatible.
Yeah. It's just that simple, huh? Yeah. We just. Yeah.
Yep. So what do you
Yeah.
think about it? If you go to courthouse, what is it? What does a court system say to you in order for someone to get divorced? They are getting divorced based upon irreconcilable
Irreconcilable.
differences.
Yes.
That's all
Yes.
you have to say. And when you go to get for the court to say that you can be divorced, is we can't reconcile our differences. And to me, for one that works with couples on a daily basis, that's probably because you didn't learn how to reconcile them. And
Mm,
so it's just easier to be like, oh, well, we just can't do it. Or we've been to therapy and or whatever it might be. And I tell you, many people don't put it to practice. So therefore, it's just easier to bounce.
yeah. Yeah. And so you talked about not doing the premarital counseling no more. Was that something that you was just like like I'm just tired of these people lying to themselves? Like, is this are the stories the same? Because I think we need premarital counseling, but I think sometimes when you get the ring already, your mind is made up.
Well, and so the reason I will do it, I just don't do much of it anymore because my stipulations are high. And
Mm,
so if someone comes to me, like I will say, Clem and I have done coaching together, premarital, all those different things. And we've learned over time is the lie, right? That's what's going on before you get married. Like, typical if they're young and they're Christians, they just want to have sex and not be able to, I don't want to be doing it wrong.
yeah.
And so I need to get married or whatever the reasons might be. And we just need to talk about who's going to wash the dishes and who's going to do da 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 da. And I'm like, y'all going to figure that out. But what we've learned is when I say premarital counseling, I'm saying, hey, yeah, I want to do 6 sessions with you, but I also want to see you at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year after you get married.
Mm,
Let's set those dates. Sean, I can tell you to date, no one has followed through that we've put that challenge to. And why do we put that challenge before them? Is because what we know is that's when the real stuff hits the fan.
yes.
Is once you've said I do. It's before, like you go say whatever you want to say. Yeah, this is great. We've talked about everything. Like we put it all. We spent hours talking, and so we really know each other. And and as soon as 3 months hit, and y'all fighting over what is the toilet paper going to be up or it's going to be down,
It should
and
be up, by the way. But anyway.
right? How do you work through that? And we don't know how. And so if we don't know how to work through it, then we must get divorced because we can't seem to decide that it's okay if it's up or it's down, whatever it is. We haven't talked about it in us. And so when the real challenges are there is when you need the counseling.
Yes.
Pre is just, hey, we're excited, we're all da da da, which is cool.
Yeah.
However, if we're going to do it, there's some things we're going to walk you through, and I'm going to teach you pain and peace cycle. I'm going to teach you how to regulate
Hmm.
because when you get into the marriage and you decide y'all fighting over the dishes, hopefully the pain and peace cycle can help you regulate and you can learn how to deal with that
Yeah.
as opposed to making a decision before you get in it. And life is completely different after I do it. I don't know what it is. There's something about that I do. There's something about
Right. It is, man. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because and even in the pain and peace cycles, even that's a process. Even that takes time.
Mhm.
Because it's one thing to get the revelation. It's another thing to be in the thick of it and trying to apply it. Because those emotions, man,
They're strong.
they strong.
they're they're strong, but they're unreliable, right? That's what's
Yes.
tough. They are
Yes.
so unreliable. And so, whether it is if you're thinking about it spiritually or if you're thinking about it with science, what we know is we have to change our thinking. And if we are driven only by our emotions, I usually tell folks, I'm like, so I might love you right now. I think you hung the moon.
Yeah.
But tonight you looked at me wrong and I hate you. I don't like you. It's because you looked at me wrong. So which one is real?
Yeah.
Like, so which is real as opposed to coming back, what's going on in me that this is my reaction? When this is the person I said I do to, and I'm having a reaction, it's typically something going on inside of me outside of those other things that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And so learning how to know what's going on internally for myself is really, really important to be able to engage.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Um, can a spouse help their partner recognize the pain that they don't see?
Because I know you, Sean, that's loaded.
I was just, I mean, I think it's a great question.
I'm asking for a friend.
I'm asking for a friend.
No, man, it's a great question. No, is the direct answer. It is. So why I push co-regulation, or why this process pushes co-regulation. I mean, individual regulation, excuse me, self-regulation.
So,
Why we push that is, if you and I are just as friends are talking, and I come at you and be like, Sean, I'm mad because you said this, and what is going to be your automatic reaction?
I'm going to be upset.
Time to be defensive.
Yep.
If I'm trying to point out what you did and what's going on, and typically that's going to be done in some aggressive manner potentially,
Yep.
a natural human reaction is to defend myself. If I feel like you coming at me, I'm going to be defensive.
Yep.
It's a whole different thing though to be like, if we are in conflict and I'm able to say, hey man, right now, man, I'm feeling like I'm just not good enough.
Yeah.
As counselly or corny as people might feel it sounds sometimes, there's something in the conversation because as a friend, I'm not pointing out to you what you did wrong. I'm just simply owning what's going on with me in our relationship. And so therefore, and if you even more so with my spouse, if she hears from me, I don't feel good enough. I'm not doing it for her to be that to say that first. I'm not
Right.
doing it for her. I'm doing it for my own regulation.
Right.
But the beauty of the process is communication. I'm now opening up, which what do our ladies tell us all? You don't tell me how you feel. Don't right? I don't feel good
Tell
enough.
you how I feel.
It's going to hit different
Mm-hmm.
if I'm saying right now I don't feel good enough. When I don't feel good enough, I feel like I got to prove it.
Mm.
I just got to prove who I am. But dang it, I know who I am. I
Yeah.
know that I'm capable. I know that I'm more than enough. So if that's the case, I ain't got to prove nothing.
Yeah.
But I am curious what's going on. It sounds like there's some tension between us.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Like what's happening?
Yeah.
Whole different approach than where
Yes.
was your problem?
Yeah. Right.
You
Yeah.
need to you
All
need to do your
down.
steps.
It's all downhill from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that you say that because it just opens up a door of it help again. It helps with the communication.
Yeah.
And when you regulating yourself, I mean that man, that's a game changer, man.
Hmm.
That's good because Michael, I kid you not, I have not been the same. I still be messing up, but I mean now I'm just like, man, having that internal dialogue and then to be able to express that, it does improve
Yeah.
communication big
Yeah.
time, big
Man,
time.
I'll tell you, this is just because it's us talking. I know other people gonna see it, but uh, in our community, we have for a long time saw whether it's counseling or whatever is being soft or being trying to be like white people or whatever it
Yeah, yeah,
is those things. But my challenge to that sometimes, not often, my challenge to that oftentimes is like, it's going to be another person's or another demographic's fault that your marriage isn't good.
mm-hmm.
You're choosing whatever those people do. That's still something controlling you. So
Yep,
at some point, if you want a healthier relationship and communication is an issue, you got to learn how to communicate. That's just downright what it is.
yeah,
And so I don't care if it's a different demographic or whoever it is, it's at some point being able to own there's something going on in me that's not allowing my relationship to be what it is. And if both of you can get a hold of that, I know that's just not just counseling. This is Michael have lived through it with his own wife.
yeah.
I know it can be different. And so you have to decide if you want something different in your relationship. If you don't, if you working with me in my office, I'd be like, maybe I'm not your counselor. Because if you don't want to do the work, I ain't doing it for you because I ain't going home with you.
I know that's right. Yep.
You know?
Man, that's good. Yeah, and it does, and it helps you better with communication. I mean, man, coming from that perspective, it does help you become a better communicator. When
Yeah.
even when you both there's some tension going on, like it really pulls on your heartstrings to be like, oh, I really gotta talk about what's going on in here.
Hmm.
you know and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, man, to be able to express that. I know it's helped me with my
Yeah.
communication for for sure.
Well, I mean, you think that too, Sean. It's not just in marriage, right? I know when I deal with colleagues or deal with even clients, right?
Yeah.
They be pushing my buttons too. Like my stuff comes up, and we can regulate, and which is why I put it to people sometimes is like if I wouldn't wild it out on my boss, which I don't have one, but if
A
if
little
someone's
flex, just a little
right,
flex.
I can call myself flexing, right? But if you do that in the workplace, what's going to happen? Like we know the consequence,
Yes.
so therefore we don't. Most of us. So that tells me already that you can regulate. You're just choosing not to.
Mm,
So you're doing it because you don't go off wild, and some people do, but you don't go off wild on your boss or whatever it is. So that tells me you're capable of it. So why are you not choosing to do that at home if you know you're capable of it?
that's heavy. That's good. I did not think. Yeah, because even though yeah, you know how to regulate because you would be at your job for 20 years with that boss you can't stand, but you still go back.
Yep. Yep. And I think what's important. I think sometimes is what my answer usually is to that is, um, it oddly we think it's safe at home just to be whatever, right? And so I can do it because they're going to be there,
Yep.
they're going to be around, or whatever it is. The stakes are different, which to me tells me about your value system. So you come and do it at home because you know they're going to be around, or because whatever, as opposed to a job. Well, I might lose my job. Well, you might lose your marriage. So at what point do you want to change to keep your marriage? You go do
Yeah.
it. You do it at work so you can keep your job. So let's do it at home so you can keep your marriage.
And Michael, and to your point, like you said earlier too, this is good because again that shows the disposable marriage, right? Like we talk about how I could, I get my cheeseburger sent to me through Uber or whoever, and the same thing with the marriage. Okay, yeah, I'll just treat you any kind of way, disposable, but I'm going to keep my job.
Hmm.
And like you said, that value system is messed up
Yep.
because your spouse have more power than you think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yep.
Man, love it. I want to ask you. This is Michael Uncut. I want to ask you like three random questions, and I would love to hear your feedback.
Yeah.
Maybe four, but maybe three. First one, what's the biggest mistake you see men make when it comes to dating,
Mm.
especially in the Christian community?
Dating apps. It's I think through that. Like I. So first of all, like be a raw. Like I couldn't imagine Sean. Cole and I've been together 24 years, married, together 25. I could not fathom,
Getting on
like,
Tinder?
whoo, like trying to find a spouse now.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. So I want to be sensitive there that it is hard out in these streets, right? I can't
yeah, right.
imagine. I just can't imagine. What mistakes do I see? I tell you what I see probably mostly coming to my office is, especially Christian men,
Yeah.
is they're Christian men, but they're trying to date secular.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I have this value system of what I expect in a spouse, but I'm going all about it like everybody else.
Mm.
And the hard part, I think, though, becomes is when maybe there's a young man or young woman that is not, that maybe isn't taking that approach. It's hard to find somebody.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, well, everybody's on dating apps and everybody's da 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 da, and I'm trying to do it right, whatever that really means. But I'm trying to do it right. So I don't I think it's dating apps is
Wow.
just because I mean, man, you think about it. Like, this is why it's scary. Is you literally are sitting there swiping to try to identify a connection and using an algorithm or whatever it might be to determine if you're compatible,
Mm.
and not spending the time to truly get to know someone, to truly work through hard stuff. right? So compatible in an AI or in an electronic system says we have all these similar interests. We have da da da. Me and Colum are about as opposite as you could be. We probably would never have matched
Me
on
and
a
Clarissa too. Yeah, we never would have matched.
would
Yeah.
have matched on a, you know, right. And so I think it is. I think it's just that this mentality that similar to what we said earlier, right? I can get on an app and I can order the date, the perfect date, and so I'm going to date 15 people in a month and
Yeah.
expect to find my mate. I don't know, man. I think that that's what I see.
Yeah.
Um, I think unfortunately it's the time that we live in, and it's what people have access to. But I don't know if it necessarily makes it right. I don't know if it is the best option.
Yeah.
So I think for specifically for Christian men is um, that it's you're doing it the way that everybody else is doing it, and how are you becoming the person that you need to be as opposed to looking for the right person? Um, I think all of those, and I'm still pretty old school too, though. So that might be some bias coming out.
Yeah, there'll be some comments in the comment section.
That's all
I'll
right.
send it to you in a text message. No, but and now that you put it like that, I'm like, that's true because more than likely y'all both lying on your profile picture. We talked about that earlier. You know, your high school picture is up there. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. But that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that. Yeah, like we kind of put these algorithms, yeah, because yeah, me and Clarissa is totally into the spectrum.
Well, I mean, the other thing I think about is it's a common right now to talk about community, right?
Yeah.
I need community. I need to be in community. What does it compute for me? And I own 100%. I'm not in that world. And
Mhm.
so I get it. So I could be completely talking uneducatedly. Um, Yet, for people who are so in community, I really don't understand how is it then that you're not connecting with someone in an authentic, healthy way that could lead to a healthy relationship? Like that's me trying to be vulnerable and honest. Is if you have such community, why are you finding mates? Like I don't get it. And I welcome. I'll tell you all that. I welcome the comments. Educate me
Yeah, yeah,
of where is that obstacle? Because if community is such a big deal now, that you hear that I need to be in community, I have community in my community, then why aren't your community hooking you up with somebody that's healthy?
that's true. That's good. Yeah, yeah. You know, people be picky though, Mike. You know, people be super picky. They be like, I think he cute, but he only 5'6".
And so let me get on the don't get me get on the app and find somebody that's 6'10", and because he's 6'10", he's the one.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a whole episode within itself. Um, uh, who makes a better spouse? Someone never married or someone divorced?
Ooh, Sean. Who makes a better spouse? Someone who's married. Who say that again?
Who who makes a better spouse? Someone never married or someone divorced?
Oh my gosh. How old are they?
Let's say 35.
Oh goodness.
They both 35.
Ah,
There's no wrong answer.
there ain't a right one either. You just welcomed all kinds of comments with that one. Uh, so I will say this. Oddly, I have had more people come in my office who've married later or gotten remarried later.
Okay.
I will say this. There are obstacles in both directions
Yes.
because someone at that age who's been married, let's just say that somebody's been married, is married someone that didn't get married, has never been married.
Yeah.
So you now have different expectations. Someone who's been married, marries someone who's not, thinks that they've got all the answers.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you how this is going to go right because I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Which you and I are like, well, if you did it, why aren't you still married?
Right.
Right? Uh, and there, again, that's a lot of maybe assumptions there. So, but also the person who has never been married, either marrying someone who has or hasn't, and that they're later in life, they have gotten into a lot of ruts, right? I have my way of doing things. I know how I like this and da 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 da. And so you've been single and individual for so long, it's hard to now figure out how to be an us.
Mm.
because you're now having to may not undo, but to kind of marry, literally
Yep.
marry two worlds. And sometimes that's harder, not impossible,
Yep.
harder because you've potentially got more baggage to work through, or you've got just some ruts that you've gotten into that you've been living in so long that this is probably where it's stronger. Well, I ain't been it because this is how I do it.
Yep. Yep.
And you can like it or you can go,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And you can get stuck in that rigidness. And so I'm with you. I don't know that either one is right or wrong or who's better.
Yeah.
I think they're just different obstacles.
Interesting. Fair enough. Last question. Is it easier to love yourself or someone else?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So if we let's go biblical real quick,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Let's go to the word.
My question becomes: can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? So we've been first loved by Christ. We
Yep.
first love Christ, and then love others as you've loved yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think if we went there,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's possible because what are you giving? Like
Mm-hmm.
what are you giving? And so if I know, like if I've experienced love, one from Jesus, and
Right.
I understand how I'm deeply loved, how can I not love myself?
Mm.
Therefore, how am I going to love someone else well? So I think it's going to be hard,
Yeah.
not impossible, because I think to me that becomes it from a clinical perspective. That's where codependency comes in,
Mm.
right? If I don't know how to love myself and I'm looking for you to fulfill me, then and you don't,
Yeah.
or you that either a couple things are going to happen. I'm going to completely lessen myself and try to be everything to you so that you love me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to do everything in my power to try to control you so that you love me. And that because the value of who I am is coming from you as opposed to from who I am. So I don't know that you can love somebody truly if you don't know how to love yourself.
Mm. That's
I just
good.
don't know if you can.
That's good.
Because
Love
you
it.
don't like what's your definition, your premise?
That's true. That's true because and people kind of define love different, right? Like
Mhm.
people, it could be that codependency that they think is love, right? Ah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So how? Yeah, I ain't gonna even ask you that question. I'll say that for another time.
Well, I am going to say this to you, right? So, Tina, right, told us what love got to do with it.
Yeah, her Ike had an interesting
Yeah.
relationship. Yeah.
But you think about, I think where we miss, and I think this goes back to some of the questions you asked earlier. This is Michael's view.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's view is I entered into a covenant with my wife. That's different than a contract, than
Yes.
different than a piece of paper.
Yes.
So in a covenant, we both showing up to try to figure out how do we love each other through good, bad, and ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that look like? And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to work on this together to try to figure out. So that covenant means we both are doing that.
Yes.
A contract says you do your part, I'm do my part. When you don't do your part, I can bounce.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to covenant. And so learning how to love. And so there are one of I've been through our own storms,
Yeah.
had those different things, but it was the commitment number one to God, knowing like truly knowing who we are, and that even if I've hurt her or vice versa, my value isn't found in her, but I get to love her and vice versa. But if I don't know that, I'm
Yeah.
always going to be messed up because she's fallible and so am
Yep.
I.
Yep.
And so how are we going to truly love it? So if I don't know who I am and I'm searching it in her, what did Lecrae say? I'll give you a shout out. He may be see this.
Okay. Shout
Like
out.
what did he say? Is if we live by others' expectations, we die by the rejection,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so my who I am is not based upon who she is.
Mm. I love that. Oh my God, that is so good. And that's no better way than to end the show. This has been a phenomenal episode. Michael, once again, man, thanks again. Um, yeah, you have been a huge, you and Coloma has been a huge blessing to Clarissa in our life, man. So we are eternally grateful for you all.
Thank you.
Um, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you. Tell us all the good stuff, what you got coming up. I'll have
Yeah,
everything linked in the description.
yeah, yeah. So if counseling, I have to divide my worlds now. I have my own counseling practice called Whole Life Priorities. So it's at wholelifepriorities.com. You can find out what we offer as far as counseling services. We see families, couples, individuals in our counseling practice. I've recently taken on a new adventure, Michael Cox Services. It's
Mm.
everything else I do but counseling. So you can find me at michaelscox.com, michaelscox.com, and have my own podcast now called The Heart Work. So it's The Heart Work with Michael Cox. You can find me on YouTube and all of your places you find your podcast. It is. I think we just recorded the seventh, or just released the seventh episode. So I'm a newbie. But follow me on The Heart Work. It's on YouTube and all the different places. The Heart Work with Michael Cox.
Yeah, love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I seen a clip today. I think you was interviewing Marion Jones.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I seen her at Lake Pflugerville one day, and I kind of stopped because I was like, "Wait, I know who that is," and I had a crush on her when I was younger, and so I got nervous and I didn't say
He
anything.
just kept going.
I just kept going.
Yeah, check it out, man. It was a good. She's a great friend. I've gotten a chance to really get to know her over the years, and great privilege to have her on the show. Just get to hear a little bit more about her as a person, not
Yeah.
just as a celebrity, but her as a person. So, yeah, man, love any folks to check that out. Give us a follow, share all that I'm learning in this world. I'm trying to figure out if I still like it.
Yes. Well, Bravehearts community, you heard it here. So make sure you go connect with Michael. Check all the links that I'll have in the description below. Leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you as well. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's get these likes up so that way this can be trending in the algorithm, especially when it comes to conversations like this. If you are listening to this via podcast, via Apple Podcast, leave a rating and review. By doing so, it puts you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. Who doesn't like free stuff? I know you could go to Chat GPT and give me something for Sean's podcast episode so I can leave a rating and review. That's cool too. Just put it there and post it. Give me 5 stars. Brave Arts community, this has been a phenomenal episode. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you visit the website at scarytoremarry.com. We have a lot of great content there and merch and all that other good stuff. Well, this has been a phenomenal night with special guest Michael Cox, and we are out.